Our newest Celeron Hunter Blade has just arrived in Honkai Star Rail, and he is definitely a contender for one of the strongest DPS characters in the game. I've seen a good amount say that Blade is a sub DPS character, however his damage output is incredibly strong, which even surprised me as to how strong he is, for example as shown here. Today I'm going to be going over how to play Blade, his best light cones and relics, team comps, and much more. If you enjoy videos like these, make sure to leave a like, and now let's go over Blade. Blade's kit is an interesting one, as he has similarities to Arlen with losing health. However, Blade works differently than Arlen with his mechanics. Blade's skill is a crucial part of his kit, as it allows him to sacrifice 30% of his maximum HP and allows him to enter Hellscape. Hellscape lasts for 3 turns, increases Blade's damage, and during these turns, Blade's basic attacks will be enhanced. The enhanced basic attacks turn into Forest of Swords, which now will hit a target and adjacent targets, and will also drain his HP even further each time he uses an enhanced basic attack. Additionally, Blade's skill will not end his turn either, and as a result, now you can use his skill and then immediately use an enhanced basic attack. A few noteworthy things I noticed while playing Blade is that he is skill point efficient, as his skill will consume a skill point, but since Blade only has a skill each time Hellscape runs out, he only consumes a skill point every few turns and remains neutral. As for his enhanced basic attacks, they do not regenerate skill points, but they also do not use skill points. And also, Blade actually gets 4 enhanced basic attacks from his skill. The initial time Blade uses his skill, he can immediately use a basic attack. However, when you look at the remaining turns after his initial basic attack, he will still have 3 turns remaining, which now means Blade has a total of 4 enhanced basic attacks from his skill before he has to use his skill again to re-enter Hellscape. As for his talent, each time Blade loses health, he gains a charge, which once he has 5 charges, he will unleash a powerful follow-up attack onto enemies and restore some of his health back. This talent is a great way to deal additional damage, as Blade is constantly losing health from his enhanced basic attacks, skill, and even ultimate. As for Blade's ultimate, it sets his HP to 50% of his maximum HP, which can result in him losing health if he's above 50% or gaining health if he's below 50%. And does damage based on a bit of attack percent, maximum HP Blade has, and up to 90% additional damage based on how much health Blade has lost during the battle based on his maximum health. If you're healers or if Blade self-heals, this won't alter how much total HP you've lost throughout battle in his HP loss counter that you can view, which makes it safe to heal Blade and not worry about it altering your ultimate's damage potential. Also, due to how Blade can possibly lose health as well from his ultimate if he's above 50% maximum HP, this can result in additional charge for his talent as well. Blade's technique is quite beneficial to use before beginning a battle as well, since he'll immediately be able to start the battle with 1 out of the 5 charges needed for his follow-up attack. And he will also lose health, which assists him in reaching that 90% maximum HP loss threshold for his ultimate's damage potential. As for Blade's traces, they are very good to invest into. For unlockable traces, I'd highly recommend all of them, as they can increase Blade's incoming healing by 20% when his current HP is below 50% of his maximum health. Another trace allows him to regenerate health when he hits a weakness broken enemy with Forest of Swords, and his final unlockable trace allows him to have increased follow-up damage by 20%, which is a nice damage boost. His mini traces are also really good, as they allow him to get 12% additional crit rate, 28% additional maximum HP, and lastly 10% additional effect resistance. All of these stats can highly benefit Blade, as he highly values crit rate by quite a lot, maximum health as well, and additional effect resistance can allow Blade to resist crowd control debuffs more often, such as being frozen or imprisoned. As for what to upgrade for Blade's traces, all of them have benefits, as his basic attacks are a good chunk of his damage, his skill improves his damage potential from Hellscape, his ultimate improves all his multipliers to deal more damage with his ultimate, and lastly, his talent allows for his follow-up attacks to do more damage. Overall, all his traces and aspects of his skill kit are definitely worth upgrading, as they will further increase Blade's damage potential. Now that we've gone over Blade's kit though, let's go over his playstyle. Blade's playstyle primarily consists of using his skill to enhance his basic attacks and gains charge stacks for his follow-up attacks while he loses health from the initial skill and enhanced basic attacks. Regarding his ultimate, you'll want to hold off on using his ultimate until you reach the 90% HP threshold mentioned before within battle. And you want to do this for each ultimate as the HP loss counter resets after using his ultimate. The primary reason to hold off on your ultimate is to get as much damage as possible within that 90 HP loss threshold I mentioned. Blade will want to get hit from enemies as much as possible as it allows for more charges for his follow-up attacks. However, without an additional taunting value on Blade, his probability of being hit is not the greatest. Many may consider March 7th and Blade due to this reason, however Blade does not lose health because of the shield and he cannot gain a charge stack for his follow-up attacks as a result, and this will hinder his HP loss for his ultimate damage potential. So while the taunt from March 7th's shield is nice, it's counterproductive because it works against what his kit wants for damage potential. As for Blade's energy, if he is fast enough to go 2 times a turn or you have Bronya, then Blade will be able to have a 1-turn ultimate at the start of battle if he gets hit or defeats an enemy from an initial attack, or if you do have Bronya on your team shown in this rotation, then he'll be able to get enough energy through his own attacks and Bronya advancing him forward. Typically speaking though, you should expect a 2 to 3 turn ultimate after the initial ultimate in the beginning of battle, depending on how many times Blade is hit, his speed, his follow-up attacks, and so on. And this is without an energy regeneration rope or any forms of additional energy. Now that we've gone over Blade's playstyle and conditions though, let's go over Blade's build. To begin with Blade's relics, he can either use the new Longvius Disciple set, the Musketeer set, or the 2-piece Eagle of Twilight Line 2-piece Disciple. The Disciple set will give Blade increased maximum HP, which assists his damage potential with his skill kit. It will also increase his crit rate when HP is consumed or he is hit, which occurs when he uses his skill and then uses one enhanced basic attack for the stacks. And now Blade will effectively have 16% additional crit rate and be able to have a very good uptime on this. The Musketeer set is nice for additional speed and basic attack damage increase. With the additional speed, Blade can benefit from possibly going 2 times in certain turn cycles if he does not have enough speed prior, and he can be able to do a very nice rotation with Bronya. Through testings using Musketeer and Disciple and keeping the Light Cone the same as well as planar sets the same, the Disciple set does perform better overall even with less speed and going less in turn cycles. If Blade has a good amount of speed with the Disciple set, this is even more beneficial for rotations. As for calculations, the Disciple set is shown to have more damage output than the Musketeer set. However, if you do have 135 or above speed with Blade and Bronya has 134, then you can do a rotation of Blade, Bronya skill, Blade, then Bronya skill again, and this will allow Blade to go numerous times in the very first turn cycle and do massive amounts of damage as well, which can be done either with Musketeer or Disciple, but the Musketeer set will make it easier to reach the speed threshold overall, while Disciple will still need a good amount of speed investment. I'll discuss this more in depth in the team comp section, but speed can be highly beneficial on Blade for going more within turn cycles, generating more energy for his ultimate, and also losing more health to make his ultimate stronger. As for planar sets, I recommend either the Redolent Arena or Inert Salcedo. Both of these sets give crit rate and both have bonuses that Blade can take advantage of. Blade can get a good amount of crit rate from his traces in the Disciple set, so this opens the door for the Redolent or Inert Salcedo set depending on your sub-rolls. Both have a similar damage output overall, and it more so depends if you want your basic attacks further enhanced or more follow-up and ultimate damage. Personally, I would recommend Inert Salcedo over Redolent since 70% crit rate is quite a lot to achieve, and making Blade's ultimate and follow-up attack damage stronger is easier to do with the Inert set as the requirement is only 50% crit rate rather than 70% crit rate. Either way though, both of these sets are great options for Blade, and it comes down to which you have a preference for and can require better stats on. Speaking of stats, for main stats, Blade will want crit rate or crit damage body piece, but crit damage will be the best as Blade can get a lot of crit rate through traces, the Disciple set, and even light cones depending on which one you use. For boots, you either want HP or speed, but I recommend speed for smoother rotations and Blade being able to attack more frequently. For your sphere, I recommend Wind Sphere as the best, but if you're missing a Wind Sphere, you can use HP until you have Wind. Lastly, you'll want his robe to be HP percent, and ideally you want a crit damage body piece, speed boots, Wind Sphere, and HP primarily on the rope. The reason you don't want to build full HP is because Blade still relies on crit rate and crit damage for damage potential and output. Speed is really good for rotations, and Wind will be better for damage output than HP. Blade still highly benefits from HP, however there will be diminishing values for the stat the higher you go. For example, if I were to swap his crit damage body piece for HP, is considerably less damage with an HP body piece rather than the original crit damage body piece. If I were to do a full HP percentage in comparison to my recommendations, here would be the full HP percentage set where everything is HP percent, and here are the results with my recommendations as well, which shows that full HP building will not give Blade the maximum potential he can achieve, and it would be best to limit it to 1 to 2 main stats with HP percentage. Now that we've gone over Blade's relics though, let's go over his light cone options. For Blade's light cones, his signature light cone will be the best option due to crit rate it provides, maximum HP, as well as the damage bonus provided from the light cone. The next option I would recommend is a secret vow, as it can effectively give Blade a 40% damage increase at only S1, and at S5 it can give an 80% damage increase. Lastly, I would recommend something irreplaceable and On the Fall of an Eon, for those who are not pulling Blade's light cone and do not have a secret vow. Now that we've gone over how to build Blade, let's go over his ideal team comps and possible rotations. For team comps, Blade is a character who can be the main DPS and carry of the team, or you could do a comp of Blade, a sub DPS healer, and then buffer or debuffer. The best Blade comp I found to be efficient so far is Blade, Locha, Bronya, and Silverwolf. You can do teams such as Blade, Locha, Welt, Silverwolf. You can also swap out Silverwolf for Pela, and so on. Blade highly benefits from Bronya, as she can increase his crit damage and give him a damage increase, which he highly benefits from. Overall, Bronya is Blade's ideal partner when it comes to Blade being buffed, and the combo is quite powerful. Locha is really good for cleansing, Abyss Flower Field, and so on, which allows your team to have consistent sustain. If you do not have him though, you can use Bailu or Natasha with Blade instead. The main reason I don't recommend shielders is primarily due to how Blade will have less probability to be attacked, or if you're using March 7th, her shields will grant taunt, however as stated before, it works against his kit. So going with a healer will be your best option. As for debuffers, any of them compare nicely with Blade. I like Pela or Silverwolf the most due to decreasing the enemy's defenses, as it can benefit Blade's damage output against enemies by quite a lot. As for sub DPS comp, you can go with similar concept, which can be instead of 2 buffers or debuffers, you pick one. You add a sustain character, which ideally is a healer, and then you add a character to be the sub DPS for your team alongside Blade. Overall, Blade is a character that can be great for team concepts, as he is skill point neutral, but other characters that benefit him will make his damage potential shine. Now that we've gone over Blade's team comps, let's go over his Eidolons. Blade's Eidolons are quite strong, as most of them increase Blade's damage output by a considerable amount. For those who do decide to go for them, E1 through 6 all have value. E1 increases his ultimate damage output by a massive amount. E2 increases his crit rate, which can be good for getting a very high amount of crit rate or making the Redolent Arena sets easier to use on him. E4 increases Blade's maximum HP each time he is at 50% or less of his maximum HP, which can stack up to 2 times, and this can easily be triggered by using Blade's ultimate. Lastly, E6 decreases his charges for his follow-up attacks from 5 to 4, and also increases his follow-up attack damage based on his maximum HP. Overall, they're definitely worth considering. I would recommend stopping at E1 or E2 overall. That'll be all for my guide on our newest Stellaron Hunter, Blade. I was genuinely surprised by how strong Blade is and how good of a character he is. Let me know if you're considering pulling or have pulled for Blade and how you're liking him so far. And also let me know, what is your favorite way to play video games? It could be your phone, console, and so on. Lastly, if you did enjoy the video, consider subscribing for more sterile content, leave a like to support the video, and like always, I hope you all have a nice one. Peace.